All right, so to do update and deletes, the first thing that it requires is, let me get these collapsed again. We need to get our methods put together. So the delete method is actually pretty straightforward. We need our variables, which is our db command, db connection, our command, yeah, that should be it. And we need to do our setup. So our command.command text equals delete from user where ID equals ID. Dot parameters dot add. And then we would simply just say, I know we're going to do add with value. Oh, we can't do that. Okay, add new SQL parameter. Like that. Add range, build parameters, user object. You okay with that? Are you okay with that?
I think so.
Do you understand how this works now?
Yes.
Okay. Good, because that's how I'm doing it. Execute. Alright, so try block. Con.open, command.execute non-query. It will not give us a query result back, because when you delete a record, well, it just disappears. This is a void method, doesn't do anything fancy, so basically it deletes the record and then goes on its way. So deletes are pretty easy in context. Updates aren't much harder. So your variables, your db connection, get connection, db command, con.create command, command, this will be our setup, command.command text equals, so this is upsert, update user, set, and then this is where it gets fun. First name equals first name, last name equals last name, email address equals email address, username equals username, password equals password, date modified equals date dt modified, where ID equals ID. cmd.parameters.add range, build parameters for the user object. Execute. Starts to get pretty redundant. Con.open, command.execute non-query, con.close. Ah, that's the thing I keep forgetting to do. You gotta close those things. Actually, the reason why I keep forgetting that is because I usually write it like this. using statements, connection objects, and other objects like it implement what is termed idisposable. Basically, it's a class that utilizes an unmanaged resource. Network connection to a database. Files access. Those are unmanaged resources. Those are things that existed before the .NET framework that are low-level or subsystem functionality. The using statement says, declare this variable or create an instance of this object, and then once this block of code is done executing, run the dispose method, and there's literally a method, .dispose, that is run, which will go through and close your connections, clean up, release all your unmanaged memory, and basically get rid of all the junk, to put it in very layman's terms. This is the preferred and recommended method for using any unmanaged resources because it will take care of it 99% of the time. They get tricky to use though because you have to make sure that you're nesting them appropriately and that you're not then taking an object that is tied to a managed resource or an unmanaged resource and trying to pass it out of scope because let's say that our connection needed to stay there for us to be able to read SQL data out of the object once it gets to the form. That would end up being a null reference because the connection to the database is closed and all that data is gone. That's why we pump it from the database into a collection of objects in memory and then ship them off to the form so that the form isn't dependent on us having a connection to the database. There is a method to my madness. Alright, so we do an update. We're actually getting that user back. If we wanted to here after we do this, we could select, all from user where ID equals ID. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why don't you use two @ signs right there?
Because the double @ signs are there for parameters that are, they're referred to typically as globals. So a parameter that you define yourself as a single @ sign. If you're using one of the special parameters or globals, then those have double @ signs. So like identity, that's why it's double @ identity is because it's that special type of parameter. My parameters that I'm using are just singles. I honestly have never tried making mine doubles, but I would imagine it would probably freak SQL out. It's just my gut. So, but the convention is you just use one. Okay, let's see. What else? So that should, so we're doing the select now. So we're not doing an execute non-query. We are executing reader. I'm going to do another one of these crazy things. Map from SQL reader. Just going to wrap it all together as one call. And then I'll do an if result user not equal null and result user dot count equals 1. Return result user 0. Else throw new application exception. I have no idea what happened. Everything still builds, so we're in good shape there. All right, so we now have our methods all written. Upsert, delete, insert, add, get. All right, so all of that is done. So our utility is now complete.